Hello, and welcome to the latest issue of Psychiatry in 5 Minutes. I'm recording this in March of 2026, and the topic is AI in psychiatry. And already you're listening to this, it's out of date. So just beware of that. This is a very rapidly changing field. Using computers in psychiatry is not at all new, but the use of AI is a generational shift in the use of computers in psychiatry. And we can't really predict a new thing that will happen in the future, because if we could predict, it wouldn't be new. So these are all guesses about what's going to happen in the future of AI in psychiatry. AI is rapidly evolving, and of course it requires an immense amount of money. And because healthcare is an immense part of the gross national product, there's no question that the AI companies are interested in healthcare. However, previous attempts to kind of dive deep into the healthcare system by Amazon, Google, boy, they haven't come up with much. So all of this has to be taken with a grain of salt. And an immense amount of money, billions and billions of dollars, are being spent in AI development. Will all of these companies survive? No, of course not. Of course not all of them will survive. Will all of them be successful? Of course not. But some will be, and the ones that are will be very successful because of the promise of AI. And we need to know that already your patients are using AI. A JAMA article from November of 2025 showed that 18% of teens have major depression, but only 40% are receiving any mental health care. So that leads teens to turn to AI to try to figure out what to do, where to help. Again, teens are already using AI. About 57% of teens are using AI for data management. And it turns out that 12 to 13% of teens are using AI chatbots for emotional support. And 22% of those who are a bit older, age 20, 21, are using AI for emotional support now. So your patients are already using this. So how are you using it? Well, many people are already using AI as a scribe, that is to help with record keeping, and no doubt that will be helped to decrease burnout and to help keeping records. Now records, are not so good. I think there's a lot more cutting and pasting than there is actually writing in the psychiatry records. So using an AI scribe service will certainly help with that. The problem is that AI will summarize in a way they think best, not necessarily you think best, so you always have to edit it and be very careful with editing it. Be very, very careful with that. Some people are wondering about using AI to answer questions, to answer routine phone calls. That's probably in the very near future. What else is in the near future for using AI in psychiatry? Well, there's no question that we have questionnaires already which are pretty good, meaning the PHQ-9 for depression or the audit for alcohol use disorders. Could a bot administer these just as well as paper and pencil? Very likely. So very likely these things will be available, and this will be especially helpful in primary care, especially helpful in primary care in rural areas where there's even less psychiatry than there is throughout the rest of the country. What will happen further out? Again, the further out we go with predictions, the less good they're going to be. But further out, I can tell you that people are working on CBT being delivered via AI, that CBT can be formulaic in the way it approaches problems. And so using CBT guided by AI questions may be helpful. There's no question in my mind, though, that there's going to be a human at the other end interpreting the results or going over the results. What about medication algorithms? Could they be used? Well, yes. The current algorithms, however, are not all that good, meaning beyond the first step or two, it's kind of guess what you want to do from there. But there's no question that using algorithms will be a next step in AI for medication advice. And again, this will be especially helpful due to the lack of mental health care. Will we be able to mine the data in our records to be able to help predict suicide? That is a hope. But boy, I think that's way far out because we don't really know what suicide is. What's the pathology? We, of course, know what happens, but what's the pathology? What's the underlying pathology? It's not clear. What about which med for which person? Always a question when we have such a variety of antipsychotics and antidepressants to choose from. But I can tell you that psychiatry over the decades has tried using urine checks for norepinephrine metabolites, or trying to check your genetic testing to see which pill will be best for you, and they failed. So that's much further out. But, that's the hope. Finally, you have to wonder, will AI replace me? And, the saying is that you will not be replaced by AI. Rather, someone who knows how to use AI will replace you. And so using AI for record keeping, being careful to edit it, perhaps using AI to administer diagnostic questionnaires would be helpful. And maybe down the road, psychotherapy help. But there's no question that a human touch is needed, that people who are suffering need help and need support. And the AI bots, at least at this point, are generated to keep people engaged, not necessarily to give the right answer. And any type of AI use in psychiatry is going to need to be approved by somebody. Who knows, the FDA, who knows, the American Psychiatric Association, the American Psychological Association. There will need to be some approval process. So it's coming. Buckle your seatbelt. This is already outdated.